So in this video, I'm going to go over my latest project and cover why I find coding such a valuable skill. In particular, through the way it creates real-life time gains and facilitates scale by automating manual processes. By the end of this video, you'll see the thought process and implementation steps that led me to put together a terminal interface application to input data, have it hooked up to an API call to retrieve stock market options pricing data, and have those API calls automated using a scheduler library, all to perform a task that otherwise would have been manually impossible for me to scale. Along the way, I can only hope this gives you an idea of how you yourself can take an idea and bring it to life from scratch. With that said, let's get into it. Our story starts with this guy. This is Eric from the Outlier Trading Channel. And yes, I know, you trading channel, just hear me out, alright? Because yes, most channels in this genre are shallow, pander to greed, and talk about strategies that cannot be repeated reliably. But for the better part of 2 years now, I've watched Eric provide consistent education on markets and how to approach them. I don't even trade myself, I just like learning from the guy. Because what I truly find fascinating about his content is this key question. How do you even go about trying to build a reliable approach in something as random as the stock market in the first place? To be simplistic, what I've learned is that it is something to the effect of searching academic papers for stock market properties that are measured and quantified. For example, price momentum. Then testing and verifying it for yourself through profiling, logging, and paper trading. Then trying to exploit it, recording the outcome, and continuing to measure its effectiveness. Oh, and a lot of risk management. There is much, much more involved beyond that, but I'll leave it there for now. So with that background established, what I want to do for this video is to build a tool to pull options data at specific times. This is because there is a market effect where once a stock has earnings, options prices for it tend to decline. This is because, prior to earnings, the price inflates in anticipation of said earnings results. So with such a tool, we can verify and profile how this pricing change occurs, how fast it is, and how long it typically lasts. Now you may ask, couldn't we just do this manually? And well, yes, we could, but there are multiple reasons why it's preferable not to. Firstly, I'm on the other side of the planet. When the US market opens, it's either midnight or 2 AM for me, depending on daylight savings. I have a day job, so it's just unrealistic for me to spend, say, 3 hours after the market opens logging pricing data for stocks that have had earnings. Secondly, I'm human. If I'm trying to collect data and I'm tired, I'm prone to misreading and then recording inaccurate data. This then poisons any analysis I'd want to do later. So for the sake of reliability, it's desirable to automate the data collection. The last is scalability. The more contracts and stocks I want to collect data on, and the more parameters I want to collect, the more time gets consumed attending to that, and the chance for errors increases. It just becomes a mammoth job to do. So before I start developing, I like to roughly know what options are or aren't available to me from a design point of view. To do this, I like to deconstruct the task down into components that need to be solved. The following comes to mind for this project. First, how and where are we going to get the options data? Second, how do we even implement scheduling for our app? Third, how do we store these scheduled tasks? And lastly, what should the UI be? As in, how do I want to input any needed data or cancel any scheduled tasks? Starting with the first question, I found this video about trading data providers and came across a few providers like Interactive Brokers, Polygon, and Yahoo Finance. To choose amongst them, I had the following criteria. It had to, firstly, have options data. Second, have it preferably be real time, or slightly delayed at worst. And lastly, be ideally as cheap as possible. So based on all that, Interactive Brokers is the pick. It covers all three of my criteria. With that decided, we are presented with our first constraints to the architecture, because the data we seek can only be accessed via their Trader Workstation app, which you must download to your local machine. Once downloaded, you then enable a flag that exposes a port on your local machine that can then be accessed for said data. This eliminates any thoughts towards developing a web app of some kind. If I want a solution that is portable and mass distributable, then based on this constraint, it must be an executable application. Our next consideration we must solve for is scheduling. If you watch my last video, then this is similar in concept to the task scheduler that we set up. The catch here is that my app must perform this scheduling internally. Frankly, I had no idea what options there were to solve this, so after a failed Google search, I threw the question to an LLM to give me some avenues to explore. From that, a few solutions were presented: Celery in combination with Redis, Postgres, and lastly, APScheduler. After doing some background research on them all, it became apparent that the extra bundling would be mandatory for most of these dependencies. APScheduler was the exception. This is because the library supports SQLite, a lightweight database that embeds with applications well. Our app would now be able to cleanly schedule tasks that we could store locally in a SQLite file. Given my preference for a simple solution, SQLite and APScheduler together was a no-brainer choice. With the scheduler sorted, we now come to our final consideration, the user interface. And look, to be honest, there wasn't much consideration for this one. I was already leaning towards exploring terminal interface applications based on a video that I'd recently watched. Doubly so, as GUI programming is something I experienced long ago at university, playing around with Java Swing. And when comparing the documentation for tkinter, the Python GUI library, and Textual, a Python TUI library, it didn't take long to be convinced that I was in for a good development experience with the latter, which ended up sealing its selection. And that brought the design phase to a close. The architecture I was to implement would be a TUI using APScheduler bundled with SQLite. Given I have never touched any of these libraries before, nor used SQLite as a database, the first step towards executing on our design is to get familiar with each of them. The way I personally like to do that is to explore by playing around with the simplest possible example. So let's get a quick win onto the board by playing around with SQLite. Thankfully, SQLite is dead simple, as the entire DB is a single file. Let's use this GFG article to explain. To generate it, all you need to do is give the file a name, as shown here. It will create automatically if it doesn't exist already. To execute any queries or retrieve any data, we'll need to retrieve a cursor from the database. In order to reuse it, we'll assign it to a variable. Now, we can move on to the APScheduler library. For this project, I'll explain what we'll need in 3 parts, so here goes. For the basics, first we'll need a scheduler. These are the scheduler types. Choose one and create it. Then we can start it. At the moment, it will do nothing. Then we add a job to the scheduler. This job comprises of the method to run and when to execute it. And here is the output. Building upon that, we have phase 2. This is similar to before, but this time I want the queued job to exist if I turn the script off and turn it back on again. To do that, we'll define a job store that the scheduler will use. Let's choose a SQL job store and provide it the path to our SQLite file. It'll create a table in there. Then we add the job store to our scheduler, run the script, turn it off, turn it on again, and the job should still execute. And then finally, phase 3, tracking. This concept is about knowing which job is being executed at any point in time. We can figure this out by adding a listener to our scheduler. We'll provide this listener with a method to consume events that it emits. These events contain info related to the job it's tied to, like the job ID. This is important as it can tell us if a job has finished execution. Next, we have to figure out how to retrieve the options data. The first action is to check the official documentation, and oh my goodness! That's an info dump. Okay, surely there has to be a simpler wrapper library, or something we can ease into instead. And there is. This is IBA Sync, and it is what I ended up using to pull data from my Interactive Brokers app. Let's speedrun how you use it. First, you create a client to connect to your Interactive Brokers app. Next, you define the contract type you want to pull data for. Then, you verify the contract. And lastly, you pull the data. Easy as that. Well, not really. Interactive Brokers has a lot of internal permission checks, so there is a lot of trial and error involved as to what data you'll even receive. As I found out with options data, you'll need to pay a subscription to retrieve it. The problem is that you don't even know what the subscription gives you access to. You basically rely on trial and error and crowdsourced information. For this video, I paid the Opera Options subscription for $1.50 a month. You also have to specify if you want granular data, for example, the volume weighted average price, by using these tick codes when pulling market data. Here's a list of them and what they do, but no examples to demonstrate how it works in practice. But whatever, these are the tick codes needed for the Greeks that we'll want to analyze. Lastly, it was time to put together our interface, and the part I happen to find the most interesting. You see, I'm a back-end developer in my day job, which means I'm absolutely garbage at design. It's a skill set I don't really get to practice and refine. The cool thing about Textual is that you get the back-end comfort of Python, but you also get to cultivate your design skills as they use a CSS variant for design. To begin, I got acquainted with the library by following the tutorial provided on their website. And my god, these examples and explanations are a sight for sore eyes. I don't think I've ever laid eyes on a better set of carefully crafted documentation in my short career. It was nice for once, just having straightforward and highlighted examples that left no room for misinterpretation. After I'd finished with that, I mocked up an idea of what I wanted my final interface to look like in SQLite. This gave me a frame of reference when evaluating the various widgets on offer and honed what I should focus on. For example, based on the design, the tabbed content widget was something I knew I wanted to use and therefore needed to learn. I then copied some code snippets for various individual widgets and played around with them. Some of these would later form the base pieces of my final interface. Bit by bit, I progressively familiarized myself with Textual's conventions. Some examples being passing data from a widget up to your main app shell by emitting messages, and second, bundling multiple widgets together into a single compound widget. At this point, the interface was coming together. It was now time to combine all these different libraries and construct the final product. In the process of combining all these libraries, I faced an interesting problem. The problem that I encountered had to do with the coordination of my scheduled jobs to interactive brokers. This is because connections to it operate on a session-based model requiring a client ID. If all the scheduled jobs were to use the same client ID, we would eventually end up with a race condition. This is because when we send a request to collect data for an options contract, we are subscribing to its data feed. Without clearing a previous session, you end up receiving a mix of messages from the old and the new sessions due to these subscriptions, causing duplicate data and inconsistent state. So the solution to this would be for each job to have a unique client ID. But how? Well, what I want to do is create an ID pool where we can track values that are in use and assign new IDs that are unused. So a simple Boolean array will do. I also thought about mimicking a thread pool, but I just wanted to get the project done by this point, so I stuck with the array. But our app is asynchronous, so how do we ensure race conditions don't happen with our ID pool? Databases solve race conditions by placing a lock on data being accessed. We need something similar, but done in the code. I threw this description at an LLM, and it threw back to me a word that I've heard before, but never understood: mutexes. By placing a mutex lock on our ID pool, we can ensure that any job that overlaps will always get an unoccupied ID. Here you can see the small example generated that implements this. With that solved, everything else fell into place. To finish, I used PyInstaller to package the project into an executable app. And that is how you create a cool little app that schedules and retrieves options data for you. For a short demo, here you can see a few jobs that I've scheduled to collect some samples for Salesforce, Hewlett-Packard, and Abercrombie Fitch. And here's the sample output. All in all, this should make any further trading analysis much less demanding on my time and to my health. Speaking of time gains, if you like this video, then I'm certain you'll also like this video here on how I save time and improve my trading in the game Old School RuneScape by building a custom market filter script. Thanks for watching. Cheers.